Good morning. Welcome to the Bearded Bama Bushcrafter. I'm out on the trap line again this morning, and I am having to figure some things out. I have learned some things. This is the first time that I have trapped this extensively in the warmer summer months. Normally when I trap, it's much cooler or even colder. So what I'm running into with some issues. I had some fresh hog feet, and I was using them as bait near the trap set, and they were just simply laid on the ground. And what I've learned, that's not a good idea. I have an invasion of ants in these trap sets. I was able to, this one here, I was able to get, I noticed that and I took care of it. Some of the others, it was later when I started noticing that. And I've just pulled a trap from an area. It's been 6 days since I've set the trap. This is the 5th day of actually checking them. I should have some action. This area I've actually have caught 2 coons. So I'm going to move this one because that's not my, I mean, it's okay to get the coons out, but I'm trying to get coyotes. And I'm not getting coyotes. For some reason the coons are in this area. And I've been noticing where I'm going throughout, I'm seeing a lot of coon tracks. So there are abundance numbers. There's a bunch of numbers of coons down here. And like I said earlier, coons are not good for the turkey population. They do a lot of damage to that, eating the turkey eggs. And I'm sure that if they can catch those young poults, they will eat them. I know I've had problems, and I've had friends that have had problems with ducks, chickens, and things of that nature getting taken out by coons. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pull this trap also. And I have got to figure out some things. Using that bait like this time of year, it really draws the insects because it is really hot. It's cool in the mornings, but it's not that cool. It's like in the 60s, but it's going to be getting warmer. During the day, it's getting into the 90s. So this stuff, like this foot here that I moved away from the trap, it just smells like death. So I've got to get this trap pulled and figure out what to do next. I'm going to see if I can show you guys what I'm talking about with the ants. I don't know if that's showing up good on the camera, but there are thousands and thousands of ants. And what I started noticing, the particular trap that I just pulled earlier, it looked like a coyote had actually stepped in the trap bed, but did not step on the pan, and had maybe grabbed that foot, and it was covered with fire ants up there. These are little black ants, but still they're ants. And it looked like, just from what I was seeing, that if it was the coyote or a fox, something did get it, because I could see a track in the trap bed. And I'm sure as soon as it got in its mouth, the ant started, just biting it, and it dropped it because it had been moved. And that may have prevented, those animals from coming back to that bed. And the next day I checked it, I had moved that bait on that hog foot, and the ants seemed to have gotten a little away from the bed, but they were still there. So it's going to be best that I move these things, especially this one, because I'm kind of frustrated with catching coons. And I want to get some coyotes, and so far I'm 0 on the coyotes. Coyotes are very, very hard to catch out of all the critters that we can trap here. They are smart. They are very aware, and man, but I have caught them. It's not an impossible thing to do. So let me finish getting this up. I just thought I'd show you all those ants, and that's one of the issues that I'm running into in this warmer weather. Some of this soil down here has so much clay in it. I've had a pickaxe to my arsenal in the tools, and this is almost inadequate to pull these stakes out. There are different ways of anchoring, and I'm used to using the metal stakes. They work better in some of your softer soils. Definitely, see, I only had to use one stake there because it's such a clay, it's majority of clay in this area where I had these two traps. All right, so I've got that one pulled. I've got to pull another trap, and I'll show you guys why I've got to pull it. You'll find this interesting. One of the things that I've also noticed in some of these sandier areas, I'm not seeing the coyote tracks that I was seeing. It's like these jokers know I'm here. Kind of, it's not unlike throwing a rock into a lake, and when you do that, the ripple effect. When you step into the woods, when you come into this environment, it's like you're throwing a rock into a pond, and these rings you put out, and these animals pick up on that, and they have to get used to you being here. And I think me coming in and out of here every day, it throws up red flags for them, because I am not seeing any tracks along this road like I was when I first came down here to kind of do some scouting with the landowner. And that is telling me something there also. All right, here's something else that happens. I had a pull out. This trap, I felt real good about this setup. And this looks definitely like a coyote was in here. Got into the dirt hole set, and my trap is sitting here, and it pulled out. So I missed that one. This was the trap that I set, I believe Wednesday morning. No, not Wednesday morning, Tuesday morning, between this little ridge line, fence line, and the road. Man, it's fun trapping, but it can be frustrating. And this happens. This is all part of it. So I missed this coyote, but I'm seeing tracks right here. See these areas right here, definitely coyote tracks. You can see where he dug and fought. It hit, I probably caught part of its toe, or he may have missed it completely. Or no, he didn't miss it completely, because you can see here, it's pulled out of the ground where the anchored is, where it was anchored. So probably just had a real small part of the foot. I'll reset this one. But they're educated now, so you know that happens. This is where I was seeing coyote tracks up and down the road. And man, that's another thing too. I know it sounds like I'm complaining. I'm just not used to being out here trapping in the summer heat. These big, huge horseflies are everywhere. And as soon as you give them an opportunity, they're landing on you and they're biting, trying to feed off of you. But along this road, I was seeing coyote tracks. And I felt like this would be a good spot. And that's a little bit of success, even though the critter was able to pull out. So I'm going to reset this one. And I feel good about this set. So we'll see how this one goes. We'll keep this one running. All right, this is the next area where I started realizing I was having an issue. This is an area where the landowner, when he catches hogs and they get what they want off of it as far as the meat, they bring them over here and they dump the carcasses. And I only see, man, good gracious, these little yellow flies too. I don't know if you can see them back up in there, but there's a buzzard sitting right up in that tree there. And yep, just like I suspected. This trap set, I thought this was what was going on. The buzzards were picking at it, and see, they've pulled this trap up. The latex pan cover's gone. And the dirt hole's back in there. I thought that's what was happening, and that's got to be it. That would have been interesting if I'd have caught a buzzard by the head. But majority of this stuff is gone now, so the buzzards are not in here. But I'm gonna back out of this area. It's just, they're still in here. And man, that is a pungent smell of death for sure. So I'm gonna pull this one, and I've got to figure out what to do. I've got to find some good areas that not being molested with the ants. And it seems like there's ants everywhere down here, but I'm not gonna put that type of bait out. I'll just use the normal lures and baits that I've been using. That don't seem to make the ants hoard in an area like those legs did. All right, so I'm gonna get this trap pulled, and then I'm gonna try to figure out what to do. I just noticed since I set this trap, this pine tree had fallen. All right, let me show you what I'm dealing with. This is where I dug the trap stake out. I am so glad I only put one stake in the ground. This soil here, let's see if we can get the camera. It's got a lot of clay in it, but this has also sand, so it's not as hard as that clay I was dealing with over on the other side where I pulled those earlier. See the sand? I'm getting that good on the camera. But still makes it difficult. I could have put a log here and anchored off to it and kind of created a real heavy drag system. I've never used a drag system. I've seen videos, and there are people who I think that's all they do is use a drag system, and what that is, it's got like a big treble hook type thing, contraption, or a big bar, and they bury it along with the trap in the bed, and then when the critter gets into the trap, they take off. They've got this big drag and they get hung up. That's the idea of it. I'm sure there's failures, pros and cons to that setup too. This is definitely one of the cons to using the long stakes in this area where this soil has a lot of clay in it. So it makes it harder to pull those things up. Definitely not going to have an issue of them pulling the whole set out. They would probably come closer to breaking the cable and or part of the trap before they would actually pull that trap out of that ground. I don't know. There may be some animals in this world that can do it, but I don't think there's any around this way. Okay, so I've got those traps up. On the way over here, I saw another area that I think will make a good set. I did see some fresh coyote tracks along that area, so definitely going to go put a trap there. And I've got another trap I need to get over here and check on. All right, this trap set has surprised me. I thought I'd have something in it by now. And I'm a little confused on the days. It's actually, I think, Friday. And I had put this set out on Wednesday morning. The same morning that I put the one that I had to pull out this morning. I'm just going to freshen this little setup, and I'm going to back out of here and leave it alone. And I'm going to get over there and reset that one trap, and I'm going to put a few more traps out. So let's move on. Okay, I've come across this area, and this area is kind of speaking to me. Where I'm at an intersection, it's kind of a transition area. There's a dry gully that comes up both sides and goes down. It comes up, goes down, or comes up and goes down this way, however you want to look at it that way. And here, I think would be a good set. But I'm going to think on it. I'm definitely going over to that other area. And put a set there. But I think this will... I'm also thinking, you know, trapping is not easy. It's not pleasant. I guess if it was, there would be thousands of other people out here doing this. And I'm thinking Maybe I should write a book or do a movie. We could call it Buzzards. No, let me work on that. Okay, here we go. This would be the title to either a book or a movie. We could call it Buzzards, Ants, Biting Flies. The Hard Soil Chronicles, the Life of a Trapper. Maybe that's too much. Every time I trap, which it is, like I said earlier, and here I go, Chad, I'm repeating myself. It has been a while since I have trapped, you know, for a while. And it's just here in the past few months that I got back into it due to what was going on around my house. So, things that I had ran into there, a lot of my traps had set up. I had to clean them. I had to get them cleaned and where they would work properly. And I was reading something about people greasing their traps, and I'm trying to think, how would I grease traps? If I use some type of like a cooking oil or something like that, man, that would just be fire ant bait. But I see some of these guys when they're setting their traps, man, they do it like it's nothing to it. And they've got to have those traps set. Because my traps, I have to set them on the ground and set them and use my hands with my feet. But I watch some guys, they'll put the trap on their knee. And, man, they'll set it right there on their knee. There's a fly trying to bite me on my finger. Okay, I'm rambling on. Let me get on over here and show you this next area where I am going to put a trap. All right, so I have quite a bit of time by myself. And I'm thinking, so on the way over here to this area, this is where I see some coyote tracks. Let's see if I can show them to you. Try not to bore you too much. Armadillo, deer, there's some hog tracks. Coyote tracks right here. Right here, that's a good sized coyote. All right, more deer. I know there are people who will come and set traps right in the middle of this intersection. This is another good area because this is a transition area. Transition areas are good areas for hunting and trapping and even fishing, like in ponds stuff, you know, your ridges and whatnot that are underwater that we don't see, ledges and so forth. So kind of think back on maybe writing a book, kind of joking here. Tweaked the title a little bit. Let's see, we could call it Buzzards, Ants, Biting Flies, the Hard Soil Chronicles, a Trapper's Journey. Is that too much? Maybe write one of those short novels. What are those things called? Novelettes or novellas or something like that. All right, so I'm not going to bore y'all with setting this trap. I'm going to get this trap set, and then I believe I'm going to go back over there and set another trap. And I've got to reset that one pull out. So I've got some work ahead of me. I was reading about the amount of traps that a trapper can set in the state of Alabama, and I think I don't know how it goes, but you're not supposed to have no more than 150 traps out. And I was thinking, how in the world could I work 150 traps in a day? Now, if you have water traps, you have more time. You have 2 to 3 days to check them. But if you had that many land sets out and you have to check it every 24 hours, you'd have to come live in these woods. That would be pretty cool, but man, I don't see how I could pull that off. Because I'm only working with a half a dozen traps, and it is keeping me busy. Just driving down to the land, driving through the land, running the line, checking the traps, having to do maintenance, having to do resets, having to move traps. So it's a pretty busy job, but I'm enjoying it. So let me get this done, and I thought I would share this with y'all today. I'm kind of a little long-winded, and I'm running down rabbit trails, so I want to say I appreciate everybody once again. I can never say that enough, that I've got some faithful followers, and you guys are awesome, and I thank you for following along on these adventures, and I hope you keep doing so. Y'all have a wonderful day, and let me share this with you real quick. Look at this beautiful bluebird sky. Man, it's a beautiful day here. It's starting to warm up. It was nice and cool this morning, and now that summer heat is turning on. All right, y'all take care. Have a good day.